All right, so you want to understand Trump's proposed External Revenue Service.
Yeah.
Or ERS.
The ERS.
We did a deep dive for you.
Absolutely.
Based on some recent news, including this article from Time magazine.
Yeah.
Called What to Know About Trump's Proposed External Revenue Service.
Interesting.
It really makes you wonder, can a president just go and create a whole new government agency?
Well, it's definitely out of the ordinary, especially given Trump's history with, the size of government.
Right.
But let's unpack it.
Sure.
Trump's vision for the ERS is to make it the primary body for collecting tariffs from foreign nations.
Tariffs.
Yeah.
For those of us who maybe need a little reminder.
Oh, yeah, sure.
What exactly are tariffs?
So basically, they're taxes on imported goods.
Right.
Think of it this way.
Okay.
Every time a product has to cross a border,
Yeah.
that country can charge a fee,
Okay.
like a toll booth for international trade.
Interesting.
That fee is the tariff.
Okay.
Usually it's a percentage of what the good is worth, and then that gets added to the final price.
And Trump wants to create a whole new agency just for this?
Well,
Look, doesn't the government already have
you're right.
systems in place for this?
You are absolutely right.
Great.
The Commerce Department and Customs and Border Patrol already handle a lot of what's being proposed for the ERS. Makes you wonder, is it really necessary, or is there something else going on?
More to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's dig into the why.
The why.
What's the reason?
The rationale that Trump's giving for wanting this External Revenue Service. He argues that other countries are taking advantage of the U.S. Through trade.
Interesting.
They haven't been paying their fair share.
Okay.
It certainly ties back to his Save America agenda and his campaign promises about shrinking the government.
Bringing back jobs.
Isn't there some irony in that, though? Trump, who's always pushing for smaller government, wants to create a whole new agency.
It does seem counterintuitive. But we got to remember, it's Congress that has the power to create and fund federal agencies. Even if Republicans have control of the House and Senate, there's no guarantee that the ERS is going to get through.
So this could be a real political showdown.
It could be.
Yeah.
It's possible that some will see this as executive overreach.
Interesting.
Maybe even a dangerous precedent for future presidents.
And this is where it gets interesting because there's also the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE as it's known, led by Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy.
Oh, wow.
Explain how they fit into all of this.
DOGE is basically Trump's task force for shrinking the government.
You could say it's a group dedicated to finding ways to trim the federal workforce, cut programs, get rid of regulations.
So by appointing Musk, the innovator behind Tesla and SpaceX, and Ramaswamy, the outspoken biotech entrepreneur, Trump is signaling maybe a different way of approaching government. It's not every day. You see figures like that?
No, you don't.
Taking on roles like this.
It's true.
What do you think they bring?
Well, I think they bring a private sector. Business mindset to government reform. You could see that as innovative and disruptive. It'll definitely be interesting to see how their involvement plays out. But back to the ERS. And this whole issue of tariffs.
Because ultimately, these tariffs are going to hit everyday Americans.
Average Americans?
Right. We're talking potential price increases.
It's
on stuff we buy every day.
Absolutely.
Right.
A lot of economists argue that the cost of tariffs ends up getting passed down to consumers. Think about your weekly grocery bill or how much electronics cost. All of those prices could go up if tariffs on imported goods increase.
And Trump has proposed some pretty big tariffs.
He has.
Right.
He's suggested 25% on goods from allies like Canada and Mexico. And a full 60% on goods from China.
60%? Wow.
So just imagine the potential impact on prices.
So we're already seeing some downsides to these tariffs. And it seems like not everyone's on board.
Definitely pushback, especially from Democrats. Senator Ron Wyden, for example. He's been very vocal against it. He says this ERS would essentially be a hidden tax
on average Americans.
Okay.
And it'll only really benefit the wealthy.
So he's saying it's not about making America great again.
Right.
It's about making a select few richer.
That's his perspective.
Okay.
He thinks the ERS will hurt average Americans and only help those who are already well off.
Okay.
It's a viewpoint worth thinking about when you consider Trump's goals.
It seems like the more we dig into this, the more complicated it gets.
It is complex.
Let's look at the potential impact on the economy.
Right.
What happens if the ERS actually goes through?
Well, we could be looking at a major shift in how the U.S. interacts with the global economy. If Trump's vision for the ERS happens, it could mean a much more aggressive approach to trade with tariffs being the main tool to get other countries to do what we want.
So it's not just about getting money. Right. It's about leverage.
Exactly.
And that's where things could get messy.
Yeah. How so?
Well, if the U.S. raises tariffs, other countries might retaliate.
Right.
They might put tariffs on our goods. And then we have a trade war.
Okay.
And no one wins in a trade war.
Sounds risky.
It is.
So we've talked about how this affects consumers, higher prices and all that. What about businesses, though?
Businesses will have a tough time, especially those that rely on imports. Or export their products. Increased costs, supply chain problems, difficulty accessing foreign markets. All of that hurts their bottom line.
So we could see job losses.
Potentially.
Businesses closing down.
It's possible.
And a ripple effect across the economy.
Yes. Some industries will be hit harder.
Like which ones?
Manufacturing and tech.
Okay.
They depend a lot on imported parts. They could see huge price increases and delays.
And what about consumer confidence? If people are worried about prices going up and the economy being unstable, they might stop spending money.
It's true.
Which would further hurt the economy.
The psychological effects are huge. Fear and uncertainty can lead to less investment, people spending less, and an overall slowdown.
So it's not just about the money.
Right.
It's about how the whole nation feels.
Exactly.
Policymakers really need to think about this carefully.
They do. It's a big decision.
This deep dive has been really informative. We've learned a lot.
We have.
About the ERS, Trump's reasons, the legal and political challenges, and the impact on the economy.
Both here and globally.
It seems like every answer just leads to more questions.
It's how it goes with complex issues. There's always different ways to look at it.
Speaking of different perspectives, let's explore some other viewpoints. In the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
And we'll look closer at DOG's role in all this. Welcome back to our deep dive on Trump's proposed External Revenue Service. It's clear this proposal has sparked a lot of debate and raised a ton of questions about the future of U.S. economic policy.
It really has. It's a multifaceted issue with potential ramifications that extend beyond economics as we wrap up. It's important to consider alternative viewpoints.
You're right. We've talked about the downsides of tariffs. But some economists actually say that tariffs can be good in certain situations, like protecting domestic industries from unfair competition from foreign companies and maybe even creating jobs.
Some economists do make that argument. But it's important to note the effectiveness of tariffs really depends on a lot of factors.
Like what?
The industry, what kind of competition there is, and the overall health of the economy. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
So you can't just say tariffs are good or bad.
Right.
It depends.
Exactly. And even when they do have benefits, there's usually a cost, like we discussed. Consumers might end up paying more for imported goods. And businesses might have to deal with higher expenses and disruptions to their supply chains.
It's a trade-off.
It is.
And then there's DOGE. The Department of Government Efficiency. They're supposed to be shrinking the government, but creating a whole new agency. Seems to go against that.
It does seem contradictory. One possibility is that DOGE, with Musk and Ramaswamy leading, sees the ERS as a way to streamline things. Maybe they want to combine responsibilities that are currently spread out across multiple agencies.
Make it more efficient.
Exactly.
So instead of more bureaucracy, it's about making what's already there work better.
That's one interpretation.
Okay, what's another?
Another possibility is that they see the ERS as temporary.
Okay.
Like a way to generate some revenue and show U.S. economic dominance for the short term while they work on reducing the size of other agencies.
A stepping stone.
Potentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
But there's also the chance that the ERS represents a change in Trump's thinking about the government's role in the economy.
Right. Maybe he now believes that a more hands-on approach is needed to reach his goals.
So less about smaller government and more about shaping it to fit a vision.
Exactly. And if that's the case, it brings up even more questions.
Like what?
How would the ERS work with other agencies? What about its effect on regulations and how would it shape the future of U.S. economic policy?
It seems like we're ending this deep dive with more questions than answers.
That's often the case with these kinds of issues.
Maybe that's the point.
I think so. Yeah. Exploring these things isn't about finding all the answers.
Okay.
It's about sparking curiosity, critical thinking, and encouraging people to learn more.
And asking the right questions.
Exactly.
Right. I want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay.
This ERS proposal, whether it works or not, highlights a tension in politics today.
Okay.
It's this pull between wanting smaller government and believing that government needs to step in to fix economic problems.
It's a real dilemma. Yeah. And it'll probably continue as policymakers deal with the changing global economy.
As you learn more about this issue, keep that in mind.
Okay.
What do you think the government's role should be in shaping the economy? Where's the line when it comes to government intervention? And how do we balance economic growth with individual liberty and limited government?
Those are the questions we all need to think about.
And with that, we come to the end of our deep dive into Trump's proposed External Revenue Service. We hope you found it insightful and that it made you want to keep learning.
Absolutely.
And forming your own opinions. Until next time, keep diving deep.